Are you interested in trying to get your garage a little organized? Learn how to build some shelves quick and easy. Now I'm going to build some shelves to replace this one. Now this is one I got at, who knows, Home Depot or Lowe's or Walmart or someplace, and you can see the upper shelf is kind of bending. And funny, most of everything up there is light. It's just papers in that box, but I think that middle tile cutter's probably got a little bit of weight bending it down, but it's leaning. But then again, that could be because of the floor. But you can see here the shelves I've built, and I'm going to build the same style type shelf. And it's just built out of 2x4s and plywood. Now these were built sturdier, as I'm going to show you, but in here I put an extra board in between the shelves. It's all the way down to the ground. That way it supports the heavier weight, because then it's going to put more weight on. This one will be light, won't need them, but I'll show you how to build shelves pretty quick for this thing that is still structured, sound, and level, because like I said, concrete floors have a tendency when they get in the corners to swoop up, and you can see that this shelf is leaning to the left, and it's also leaning from the wall out, so it's just not steady and sturdy. So I'm going to show you how to build a shelf on an unlevel floor. Hopefully that'll help you with your storage areas and stuff. You can see all the wasted space at the top. I mean, a big tub, even though it doesn't have anything in it really, but it should go on the bottom. And the shelving spaces wasn't right, so when you build your shelf space, you don't have to build them the dimensions I build them, but build them to where you know that's going to fit what things you're going to put on it. Like I'm definitely going to be putting about 2 to 3 tubs on this shelf here at the bottom. So now that I've cleaned out the corner and removed this ledge they built, let's see, let's look over here. You can see that ledge they built. Put 2x4 on top, so that's at least 3.5 inches just sticking out, and that would be 3.5 inches. It's going to push the shelf towards the door, which is ridiculous. There's no point in even doing that. Who knows what thought was. But as I had mentioned before, when they poured the concrete, it swoops up in the corner, and that probably doesn't look much like it in the video, but with the level here, you can see that the bubble is way off, so the floor is pointing downhill. So, and then now it's somewhat level across there. It's still a little off, not by much. It's really kind of hard to see, but this lifts up just a hair, and the boards that are going to be supporting the shelf are going to be sitting on that. Now I'm going to be making the shelves pretty much the same height as these, and I can't remember, I think it's like 70, well, what is it, 78, but I think it's more like 74, 75, I can't remember, inches tall. That way it gave me a shelf up on top. And my plan is to do six shelves like this, but when I pulled everything off that shelf that I had, threw some stuff away and packaged some stuff, and some stuff I put into totes like those. So now I know what I'm going to be putting on the shelf and how tall I need. At least, I think I'm going to have at least 4 totes. I think two can sit side by side, so at least 2 shelves. And that's what you want to do. Is if you're not really for sure how many shelves you need, at least go by what you have or what you plan on putting on it and what container you're going to put it in. The way I'm going to get started is by putting a board in the corner. And I measured my shelves to 82 inches, so I'm going to set the board in the corner and come up 82 inches. And then from there I'll take a level, and you can mark on the wall or put a piece of tape, but just mark over, and then set your other board coming straight up to that, or get your measurement rather, and that'll give you a level plane for that one side of the shelf. And then come over and do the same in that corner, and that'll, as long as you're making your level marks off the wall, that'll compensate for the unlevel floor. Now what I'm going to do here, you don't have to have a nail gun. I just use it because I'm used to using it. It's easy to pop things together. You can easily start your 2 screws. I'd recommend construction screws because they're pretty strong. At least if you're going to do nails or if you're going to run screws, at least run 2 of them per board. What I'm going to do is just, you also want to check the arch in your board, because if the board has a crown, it runs that way, you want it on the upper side. This one's pretty much about flat, maybe a slight arch there, but and if you are running a nail gun, stay clear, because those nails can go off in any direction. And what I've done here is I wanted my shelf to be 3 foot. So this is the facing. So it's 3 feet wide, and it's going to be 16 inches deep. So you know these are 1.5 inches wide. So these will be the sides, so they won't be 16, so you take off 1.5 inches for one side, 1.5 inches for the other is 3 inches, so that makes them 13. But like I said, these shelves can be whatever size you want them to be. This is what I'm going to put in this corner, because it's close to what was there, but at least it'll have flat shelving. Okay, I put some screws into this 2x2. All I did was just measure center and put it dead there. You can use a 2x4, you could use a 1x, you could use whatever size you really want to use. More than likely these shelves are never going to hold anything really heavy, but I just wanted to put that in there for extra support. And if you screw your shelving material on the top of your shelf, you don't have to worry about it really bowing out. I mean, any extra wood you put in there is good support. But I'm now going to, after I've popped the nails, I'm going to use these number 9 2.5 inch screws. And you don't have to get a screw gun either. You can use a drill. I recommend getting a screw gun. And I'll put these tools that I use down in the description in case you want to use them. But that's it. Now we've got a main shelf support, and as we build it we can put the sheeting onto the top of this, but for the first part I'm going to leave it open like this so I can clamp it, level it, get everything supported, get everything where it needs to be, then probably pop it with a nail gun, put some screws in it, and then start building the shelf. I had my daughter come out here and hold these boards just from going any place, but what I did is I put this bottom piece on, this one here. I bumped it up against those boards and got them flush right here, and then I took the level and put it right here and made sure that it was plumb, or level, I mean, make sure it was plumb level, and then mounted those. Then and one screw each kind of held those in place. So then I come across over here to this side, checked my level going across, and I had her hold the two boards over there, and I put my mark over there on the boards. Of course you can't see them now because the board's in the shelf's in the way. And then I put one screw in each of those. Then what I did is I measured my blue tub sitting over there, which is just under 16 inches. And I'm not sure with my scrap, because I'm using scrap woods, but for the shelving material, I have 1/2 and 3/4. If I've got some 3/4, I'm going to put on the bottom. But so I allowed for that and measured up about 17 inches to the bottom. That way my tub will slide in there. And then I made my marks. And then what I did is I secured the same thing. I secured it over here first. And then I just ran my level again across there to make sure it's level. Made my mark. And then I just got the screws started using some squeeze clamps like these to just kind of clamp it in place. Then I went around and double checked my levelness with this guy. And which is a little bit off. I'll probably go back and bump that up a hair. Of course, it's level there. This is, in my case, it's really kind of difficult to get this going and started because, like I mentioned, the corner of that floor is swooped up really bad, and then it slightly goes downhill and goes downhill that way really bad. So it was really causing a lot of problems to get it situated to where it doesn't rock. And see, the edge of that corner over there is touching the concrete. In order to make it level for the shelf, I had to raise it up just a little bit to come out because the floor comes down towards us here on the up on the not very bad. But then you see as the floor goes out, then the gap increases because the floor is not level. And that's the reason why I built it the way I did. The other thing is, you'll probably notice I use 2x4s on the back side and 2x6s in the front. And the reason being is 2x6s gives me plenty of room to put hanger pins or any type of hanger to hang stuff from, cords, whatever. Of course, you could use 2x4s and run pegboard. Now once that I've got the shelves in place and they're level, based on the crooked floor, but once they're in place and level, you can see it's going to be hard to build these shelves in this corner and build them firmly. As you saw, I placed a screw, or as I indicated, I placed a screw in each corner outwardly from the inside to the outside board. That way it's got it held in place. Now I can drag this shelf out of the corner, out in the middle of the floor where it's going to be easier to build it. That way I can get screws and nails or whatever you're going to use to mount it with from the outside to the inside of the shelf. And what we'll do from here, because once it's out of the corner, it's not going to be sitting exactly the level or the way it should be sitting in the corner. So what we're going to do, since we know it's level when it's sitting in the corner, once we drag it out to the floor, instead of using a level from this point on, we're going to take a measuring tape and come off the top of that shelf that's existing, which is the last one we put on, and measure up. Let's just say every shelf on this is going to have a 16-inch gap, or a 16-inch opening. And let's say you're going to use a 1/2-inch sheet of plywood to be your actual shelf. So you'd measure up 16.5 inches, and that'd be the bottom of your next shelf. And we'll put the marks on the outer boards on the inside. And you can use a straight edge, a level, whatever, to draw your lines to each other from one board to the next. And then you'll set your shelf in place and then clamp it, and then make sure it's on all the lines, and then put a screw in each one. So there you have it. There's some shelves. Just built out I had to go buy some 2x4s, but the rest of it pretty much was just scrap wood I had laying around. I've do a lot of carpentry work from time to time, and I hate throwing away pieces of wood that could be valuable. And in this case, it worked out because it helped build those shelves. Are these shelves perfect? No, they're not perfect at all. I mean, there's so many more things you can do with it. But for garage shelves, for just getting, you know, stuff off the floor and getting things organized, then they're perfect. I'm bringing stuff from a storage building to my garage, which is going to fill it way up. But so the more shelves I build or can set up, the better off I'm going to be. But you can, to make it more durable, you can actually put a piece of 1x, or you can use 2x's and put it on each edge. If it's going to be a freestanding shelf that's not sitting in a corner, you'd want to put some wood on one side, or you can put a back to it. You can use a 1/4 inch luan and put a back on it. Hopefully, your case, you won't be running into where you need to shelf if the concrete's unlevel or what have you. I mean, this actually, I built these shelves, I think, almost in less time and quicker, even though the garage was a little bit, or the floor was unlevel from, it's a little bit higher in the back than it is in the front. It was minute. Whereas this corner here, that swoop in the back was really, really bad, and as you can see on that bottom, having to lift it up to get it level. Now, as you've seen, just real brief run through on how to build a shelf. You can build your boxes, put your sheeting on top of it, and then put the shelves on, or you can set the frames on the shelves and then put your sheeting on top of that. It doesn't really matter. You can build it multitude of ways. Is this the correct way? There's no yes or no to that. I mean, you build shelves to what you need. Is this a perfect job? No, it's not a perfect job. It's not exactly totally level in some places just because of having to build to work with something unknown. This corner being beefed up in the corner like it is a higher level than the rest of the floor at two different angles. Getting it started was tougher. The other shelves I've built usually are more level and it goes quicker. This was a little bit tough getting it started, then I drug it out and then built the shelves onto it. When I put it up, it just, I mean, it's still in bubble, it's still perfect, you know, still plenty level enough to be a shelf, but it's just a little bit off, but I'm a perfectionist. So, but like I said, you can put boards on the corners. I left mine open because I wanted full facing so I can slide in tubs or whatever I need. You can put a backing on it with luan. You can get your 4x8 sheet of luan and put a backing to it, and that'll give it strength this way. Your shelf may be something you want to set out in the middle of the floor. It may not be, you know, small like this. I will tell you this shelf is 16 inches out. That is considered a narrow shelf, and if a kid was wanting to do this climbing thing, he could pull it over. So in my case, since it's against the wall, I anchored it to the wall. That way, you know, of course I don't have any little kids that's going to pull it over, but you just never know. If your shelves are going to hold something really heavy, you can use 2x4s to go in here to hold it up, or you can use 1x. You can just use small blocks. I know these shelves aren't going to hold anything of super weight. I built bigger shelves for that, and I actually did put 2x4s in between each level all the way to the floor. That way it helps support any kind of great weight, because I wasn't sure I was going to put engine parts or what I was going to put on it. But I know I had bigger plans, heavier paint cans and things like that. But if you have any questions on how to build shelves, or just, you know, how to build anything carpentry, period, be sure to send me a message. And always like and subscribe to my channel, and I will be definitely doing more videos on construction. I've got several projects around the house and some other jobs to do, so I will definitely videotape those. But be sure just to keep check back, and I'm sure I'll have more videos coming your way.